Welcome to another episode of Pels in the Blender. It's your boy A. Davis coming to y'all on this Friday, Pels game day. Not gonna have y'all with a long episode today, man. Just wanted to come give some thoughts about the game real quick and like the trend that we seeing going forward, which is kind of like where we at. So just kind of wanted to put some thoughts out there real quick that I've been having because you see, like the title of the episode is like Pels Ups and Downs, right? Which is exactly what they are. Like they're up and down. You'll see they have some good wins on the season, right? They got a win against Houston, which I thought was a really good win. The win against San Antonio was a really good win. Also, whoa, was good, bro. It was good. Appreciate you. The win against San Antonio is a really good win, which you had been playing San Antonio close damn near every time you played them. So to be able to get that win was a good win. The win against Minnesota, the one against Minnesota was a really good win in Minnesota, which again we just typically play well against them. The win against the Sixers, I think, was a little overblown, but still a quality win. No Embiid, they had been on a little losing streak and stuff like that, but still a decent win when you don't have that many of the season. So like they have a couple good wins throughout the season. Don't get me wrong, but the problem for me is, and I hate to just like I hate to just kind of like always talk about the negative, right? So you know what? Before I talk about the negative, let's talk about the positives. They have played a little better. They have looked a little bit better. You started seeing Jeremiah Fears come along with some of their roles, with his role on the bench and whatnot. So the Zion health is absolutely a plus. That's absolutely a benefit. The Trey Murphy coming back, her being helped, like regardless of how her playing offensively and stuff, her being back and available is a plus, right? The team being for the most part healthy, even if you still got DeJounte sitting out certain games with you just coming back from the Achilles and the team is like not really competing for nothing. And some of the games that he sit like you should be able to win without him anyway, like the one against Sacramento. So for the most part, the team is relatively healthy. You get an idea to see what pieces they'll have moving forward, and you could kind of try to build some kind of chemistry and continuity moving forward. All of that is good, right? Trying to decide what the offense can look like moving forward is also positive. You're still able to work on some things. You like they have to compete to the end of the season. So, like, in my opinion, another good thing is last season when because you had the draft pick while most teams are in the process of tanking, you aren't able to tank, right? So you have to still take every game serious. You have to still, you know, like you have to play the entire season with purpose and meaning. That's a good thing moving forward. So like there are things about what's happening at this point of the season moving forward. And like if the plan is, and again, the roster obviously needs some movement, right? Like we need some overhaul a little bit. But for the most part, those are some positive things. Now, the reason I kind of want to talk about like the ups and downs, and I don't want to get too like I don't want people to get like too ahead of themselves is because we still lose consistently to like okay, like if it's a good team, more than likely we're gonna lose. And if it's a okayish team, you know what I mean? For the most part, like you in the battle. And that's kind of where like my my thoughts are moving forward. Like if if they would have won the game against the Clippers, right? Then it's kind of like okay, you seeing some real progress moving forward. But not only did they lose, they kind of got smacked, right? Against the Lakers. The Lakers, like you were in that game kind of close to the game, but when it was time, right? Like all of the things that you have been working on throughout the season, right? Like apparently, like not apparently, but it's been reported and like James Borrego has talked about it all the time. We talk about our closing, we talk about the defense, we talk so like you heard multiple reports from like players and whatnot that they're working on some of these things and you still not able to close these games. So like when they win when they go on the winning streak, right? Because they had the 4-game winning streak, and the 4-game winning streak was the Sixers, 2 games against the Jazz, and what was the other team? The Sixers, 2 games against the Jazz, and I can't remember who the other team was off the top of my head right now. But like, excuse me. But like, you don't want to get too. And again, you have to win those games. Don't get me wrong, but you don't want to like fall into the trap of okay, the record, since everybody was healthy, isn't that bad when every time you see them play good teams, they don't really compete, right? Like they played Sacramento last night and they did what they were supposed to do against a Sacramento team who's like they're like obviously tanking. You get what I'm saying? So I don't want to be I don't want the fan base and I don't want the team themselves to like again, you got to keep putting in the work one day at a time moving forward. And again, it can turn. Like you've seen how it turned for Charlotte, right? And I'm not saying that we're close to being what Charlotte is or nothing like that, but you saw how Charlotte was awful and LaMelo was on the trade block at the beginning of the season, right? And now all of a sudden like people talking about Charlotte as one of the best teams in the NBA. It can happen for you just that fast with, a couple good roster moves, the coach staff messages getting through, and, finding a system and style of play that fits and works and whatnot. So like, it's not that there's zero hope of what they're building moving forward, but like we have to see consistent growth and like them get wins against like I would like to see them get wins consistently against good teams the rest of the way. So that's kind of where it is for me. Like I don't. Again, I like to see the offense getting better. I like to see the Warriors. That was who the other game was against. No Steph Curry, no Jimmy Butler, nothing like that. They got to win against the Warriors. But like you lost to the Heat by double digits. You lost to the Bucks without nobody. What the Bucks lost was damn near about 20. You lost to the Bucks in Minnesota. I'm sorry, in Milwaukee. It was a close one, but like you lost that one. You had the Hornets, found a way to lose that one. You lost to the Sixers when Embiid by double digits. So like the Thunder, obviously it's the Thunder, but like it's just the Pistons spanked you, the Rockets recently. We lost to the Pacers. It's just I don't want to get too away from the goal when they're getting some wins, like you're getting wins, but you getting wins against awful teams. Like your last, like, okay, you beat the Kings, you beat the Jazz twice, you beat the Kings, you beat the Jazz twice, you beat the Warriors, you beat the Sixers, you beat the Kings again. You had a good win against the Timberwolves. And then before that, your last good one was against the Spurs. But other than that, you beat the Grizzlies, who at that point had traded Jaren Jackson. You beat the Nets, and we barely beat the Nets, but the Nets aren't a good team by any means. So it's just kind of like less. I don't want to say pump the brakes or whatever, but like they are making progress. They are making progress, but like you still see, in my opinion, you still see a lot of flaws moving forward. Like I still personally, like again, with everybody relatively healthy now, I still don't understand the rotation from game to game, right? Like, okay, it's cool if you're gonna sit Fears and Queen on the bench, that's fine. But like again, one game DeAndre Jordan starting, the next game he don't play a minute. Missy starting, and then Queen technically DeAndre Jordan starting, Missy's next off the bench, and then Carlo don't get a minute. Then in the following game, you got DeAndre Jordan not playing at all, and then Missy's playing, and then like now Queen is third because Carlo's getting minutes. It's just very confusing. Meanwhile, we still can't find, and again, Jeremiah Fears is playing relatively well. So I understand that. And Bryce McGowan is also playing very well. But like to say we don't have no room for Jordan Poole, also, I just think that's like, I just don't think the roster is being maximized in my opinion. And like, it's just hard to, and I can't, again, if this is the way you decide to move forward, cool. But against good teams, like the Suns is a team, and I don't think the Suns are a great team, right? But the last time, whoa, what's good, Mike? Appreciate you. But the last time you played the Suns and those in that back-to-back, that home and home series, the Suns beat the brakes off you both times, right? Like you, and again, that's not to say that the Suns are just some world beater, some world beater of a team. What are they right now? Like they fighting for playoff position and stuff like that too. So they better than us. But coming into this game specifically, if Devin Booker plays for the most part, like I would like to see you win that game. And even if you win that game, that's the kind of progress that I want to see. Right? Like, what are the Suns? Hold on. Let me. The Suns are the 7th seed right now. The Suns are the 7th seed fighting the Lakers for the 6th seed. So getting a win like that, building off it is fine. Like beating Sacramento, like only means so much to me. Only means so much to me. And again, you got to get as many wins as you can. But going forward, like I don't want to get too far away or too locked in and being like, oh man, like again, you want to win and like get as many wins as possible. One, because you want to make the draft pick as like you want to make the odds in your favors as best as possible. So like you can't really afford the tank from that perspective. So like when you play the Jazz, you absolutely can't afford to lose those kinds of games. You can't afford to lose games against the Jazz. Like those games you absolutely have to win. And you got a couple of those games coming up moving forward. You got Washington, you got to win. Dallas, you got to win. You got Sacramento again, you got to win. Utah again, you got to win. But you got a lot of good teams the rest of the way that's going to be fighting for playoff position. And that's going to be a really good determining factor of where this team needs to be and like really how can we judge them moving forward. Because I'm not overly sold. And yes, they have made progress offensively. The defense up and down, like, but I still don't again, we haven't figured out the roster and rotations. It's a lot of things that still, we still have questions about moving forward. And again, you got, a month, 2 months left, a month and a half essentially, because you're not playing past, mid-April. So like you got a little bit left to kind of figure this out. And it's not to be overly critical or whatever, but I just don't want the fan base to get like, because they can build momentum going into next season. You absolutely could do that. But how do you build momentum going into next season? It would be getting wins, like getting another win over Houston, like upsetting somebody that's fighting for playoff position. You still got 2 games against LA. Can you win those 2 games? You got Cleveland coming. You got Cleveland again. You got New York again, Detroit again, Toronto twice, Houston again, like Boston, Minnesota. Like, can you get some of those wins to where you could say, all right, look, we were healthy. We finally figured out our rotation and stuff like that. And we knocked off a good bit of playoff teams down the stretch. If you could do that, then I think you could go into the offseason and feel a lot better about the roster. But if every time you have, a game against a quality opponent and you get smacked, and I ain't talking about like losing close ones, but if it's like almost a double-digit loss every time, then like double-digit or more, then it's kind of like, all right, we're still not as close as you would think. Right. And again, it's a couple things that need to happen. Like you do need some roster moves and stuff like that. But that's just my opinion on that. Also, one of the things, especially since we're talking about like wins and losses and stuff, I have come up with what my like I finally figured out what it is I want this team to achieve the rest of the way for the second half of the season. So like I don't believe that they have a chance to get into the play-in. I just don't believe it, right? The Portland right now has 30 wins. They 30 and 33. The Pelicans are 20 and 44. So we're already just in the win column, you 10 games behind that. Memphis is the 11th seed in the West with 23 wins. So my goal, and in the East, Milwaukee is the 11th seed with 26 wins right now. So for the rest of the season, my thought or goal would be to finish with more wins than Milwaukee and Memphis, which Memphis is in the process of their tank, so that might not be too bad of a deal. But if you can finish, because that will put you probably like number 10 in the odds, kind of how it, you know what I mean, how it works out and stuff like that. I don't believe that Portland, for example, is going to lose like the rest of the way, the rest of the season is going to lose that many games to where, and again, you still got to get to 30. You need 10 more wins to get to 30 wins. I don't see 10 easy wins the rest of the way. Like 10 wins just to get to 30. You got Washington once, let's say you count that. You got Sacramento another time, let's say you count that, and you got Utah again. That's 3 wins, right? Let's say we give you those. That's 3 wins the rest of the way. But you got Toronto, Houston, Dallas should be a win. That's 4. So let's say, but again, you never know because we should have beat Dallas a couple of times and you lost that game. So let's say 3 wins for sure. That's 20. That's 23 wins. That's 2 more than last season. But like Phoenix, is that a guarantee? No. Toronto, no. Houston, no. LA twice, no. Cleveland, New York. If they finish the season and say they got a stretch in March getting ready to come up in like a week where you go LA, Cleveland, New York, Detroit, Toronto, Houston, Portland. You could end up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could go on another 8-game losing streak. And if you go on another 8-game losing streak this late into the season, like that to me destroys like all of the I don't want to say goodwill, but like all of the things that you think you created because you're playing good teams and you can't figure out ways to beat any of them. Those are the games you have to find ways to win. Those are the games that I'm kind of going to be like wanting to judge the team on how has Borrego looked since he's gotten the full complement of players in the full roster available to you. Aside from when the games where DeJounte possibly sits because of the Achilles. Like I take that into account. Don't get me wrong. But like now you have a little over a month and a half, or a month and some change, I think, to really put the stamp on, are you going to, like, this is the stretch. Can you really make a push at the end of this season to try and get yourself, one, if you Borrego, to try and get this job, and 2, what, like, the players are playing for like roster spots and opportunities, and like you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season. But this stretch right here, one, can build you some really goodwill, right? Can build some momentum going into the off season, and can like put you in a position where you feel a little bit better about how you finished as opposed to how you started, right? Y'all started with a different coach. Queen didn't have no off season. Like it'll let you know a lot of the things that you need to work on. You'll be playing a lot of, like, you still got to compete, but you're going to be playing against teams that still have something to compete for. So it's not like the games are going to be meaningless. You're going to be in battles, right? That, like, every game for this team, like DeJounte said, every game is damn near like a playoff game. So they'll be putting forth their best effort. So it's not like you just out here not trying to win these games. And for me, like I said, if you can do that again, if you can get to essentially being like 10th in draft positioning, and how I'm counting that is 10 teams, right? Well, it's going to be 14 teams total when the lottery odds hit. 2 of the teams are not going to make it out of, well, 4 of the teams are not going to make it out of the play-in. I don't think we have a chance to get into the play-in. So you'll see like those teams ahead of you in like the odds and stuff like that, right? You'll see Portland, if they I don't think we catch them again. I don't think we catch Portland. So you'll see Portland stay up there. You'll see the Clippers possibly, depending on, it all depends on who comes out of the play-in. You know what I mean? Golden State, Phoenix, one of them, somebody in that spot. And then in the East, you got Atlanta, Charlotte, Miami, Orlando in the play-in right now. So like 2 or 4 of those teams won't make the playoffs as well. So you got most likely those like 4 of those teams are going to have a better record than you moving forward. So you'll have them in like 14 through 11, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then if you can get your record above Milwaukee, if you can catch Milwaukee and you can catch Memphis, you'll put yourself in a position where you're probably like 10th. You know what I mean? You'll have like the 10th best odds in the draft. And as long as that pick don't jump up, something like that, if you ended up giving up the number 10 pick in the draft for Queen, you probably feel a little bit better about it, right? It's not as bad as giving up a top 4 pick or something like that. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the rest of the season. Get ahead of Milwaukee. Get his head up. You should be able to catch Memphis because Memphis is on the tank. Dallas, you're 1 game behind Dallas. You should be able to catch Dallas. Plus, you got a game against them coming up. So you should be able to catch them. Do that first. And then, try and catch Milwaukee. Catch Milwaukee in the race. Pass that team up. That puts you 10th in the standings for like the draft lottery. And then can you compete against the good teams the rest of the way? If you could do those things, then I think you'll go into the offseason and say, okay, look, at the end of the season, man, look, we beat LA, we beat New York, we beat Detroit, we took a game off of Cleveland, we beat Boston, we finished our season with a win against Minnesota, right? If you can do those, you'll start being like, okay, it was shaky, and then kind of similar. Shout out to Mike, man. We were talking about kind of similar to the Saints. Like the Saints ran off some wins to end the season, and you went into the season feeling a lot better about your team and about your roster. But right now, I mean, you kind of, if you just look at how you've played against good teams, you can't project for more than like 25 wins. You can't project for more than 25. Again, let me look at it. Washington, let's say I give you Dallas. Washington, Dallas, Sacramento, Utah again. So that's 4, right? You have 20. I can't guarantee a win against Phoenix. And Phoenix, Toronto, maybe you got two left against them. Maybe you could win that one of those. So maybe they get you 5. But I mean, I don't know if you beat the Clippers, Houston, Cleveland, Detroit. You can end up, man, listen, it could, you got Orlando again, who's been your nemesis and whatnot. So that's just kind of how I am. So I just wanted to throw out like the little quick episode. The Pels have been having a lot of ups and downs, and it's not to say that they haven't progressed to a degree. It's a lot of things that players individually are showing. They're somewhat playing better together. Right? It's just a couple things I would personally like to see, and I'm sure that they would like to see as well. I'm sure they would like to get more continuity with the rotation. I'm sure they would like to shoot the 3 better moving down the stretch. They would like to create more offense. Like I would like to see Z expand on his game and stuff like that, and not just be healthy. You know what I mean? Start expanding your game a little bit more. You shot the 3 to 1 game, shoot another one. So it's a couple things that they could work on moving forward. But the key is let's not focus on, again, getting wins. You got to get as many wins as you can, however you can. And you definitely can't afford to lose games to teams like Sacramento. But let's not get too swept up. And it's like, oh, well, they look so much better, or they look like this, when you're looking at the games and you're looking at the wins and losses. And a lot of the wins and losses are against like some of the worst teams in the league. They do have a couple good wins during the season, right? They do have a couple good wins during the season. You could probably count them. On one hand how many good wins they have during the season. Let's see. Houston, San Antonio, Minnesota, Philly, right? You got 4 good wins so far during the season, in my opinion. If you look at some of the other ones, those are games that, like, based on this roster, you were supposed to win some of them games anyway. So that's just kind of where I'm at, man. You got to be able to compete, and not just compete, but you got to be able to get some of these wins. And if And if everything is coming together, like they're saying, you do have to keep moving forward. You do have to keep pushing forward. Don't get me wrong. But if it's starting to come together, hopefully we can see some of this stuff coming together against some of the better teams, right? And that translate into more wins against good teams. So I'm not gonna hold y'all too long, man. That's gonna do it for me today. Again, I'm A Davis, man. Pels in the blender. Catch us with we've been doing the spaces, man. Me and Chad's been doing the spaces. The fan line show, we might bring that back. I'm not necessarily sure. We might have swapped that out for the spaces. So if not, y'all just join the spaces. Make sure to, and again, man, shout out to all of, and I just want to say this too. Before I get off, man. Shout out to the Pels social media and stuff like that, because yes, everybody is kind of critical of the team for whatever different reasons, but everybody has stayed kind of engaged at least throughout the entire season. Like, most people still watch the games, regardless of if you're winning or losing. A lot of people, obviously, the fans are still engaged and they want the team to be good because they're still watching these games, and the season has effectively been over. The season had damn near been over like the first 2 months of the season. So, like, shout out to, Boot Crew, Jake Madison, Schmidt, everybody. First off, everybody that do their shows. Shout out to y'all, man, for consistently putting out content. Chaz, obviously, for consistently putting out content and giving as much like information as you can about these teams. Like, that's always a blessing, because at the end of the day, I'm still a fan and I still want to know, like, I want the team to do well. I want us all to still be engaged. You know what I mean? The rest of the way. So, like, shout out to everybody in the the Pels media space. Shout out to the fans and whatnot that still follow the team and try to support the team. Like, this is a 20-win team, man. And sometimes you'll go to a game, if they got on a little bit of streak, you go to the games and the games still be loud. So, kudos to us, because I'm in there with the rest of y'all. But that's going to do it for me today, man. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend moving forward. Pels game day tonight. Again, I said it the last couple times, I can't predict this team to win any game, even though I always hope I'm wrong. So, like, do I think they beat Phoenix? No. But if they did, I'd be pleasantly surprised, man. So, like, I hate to, like, not go for the home team, but the way that is, look, we haven't beat good to quality teams. Again, I counted only 4 times all season. Hopefully tonight we can make it a 5th, man. But y'all enjoy y'all weekend, man. Stay safe, everybody. Again, Pels in the blender. I'm A Davis. Out. Peace.